In 2018, a frail 78-year-old man sat in a Texas prison interrogation room. He didn't look powerful. He didn't look intimidating. He didn't look like a monster. But then he said something that stunned investigators. He claimed he had killed 90 women. At first, detectives assumed it was another prison exaggeration, until he began describing them. Their faces, their voices, the cities, the weather that day. Details only the killer would know. His name was Samuel Little, and what investigators would soon confirm would rewrite American criminal history. Samuel Little was born in 1940. His childhood was unstable, raised primarily by his grandmother. Constant movement, constant instability, early signs of aggression. By his teenage years, he was already in trouble. Shoplifting, burglary, assault. He lived on the margins of society, drifting from state to state, never fully rooted anywhere. That instability would later become his advantage. Unlike many serial killers, Samuel Little did not seek attention. He did not taunt police. He did not leave messages. His victims were often vulnerable women, frequently struggling with addiction or living on the streets. He targeted those society overlooked. He strangled his victims. No gunshots, no loud crime scenes, no dramatic evidence, and because many of the victims were marginalized, their deaths were often ruled accidental, overdose, and known causes, natural death. The pattern was invisible, and that invisibility protected him. For decades, Samuel Little was arrested multiple times throughout his life, but never for murder. The lack of forensic technology in earlier decades worked in his favor. Different states, different jurisdictions, no centralized DNA database. Crimes were never connected. He blended in. He drifted. He disappeared. The system never realized it was looking at a serial killer. In 2012, Samuel Little was arrested in Kentucky on a drug charge. DNA was collected. That DNA linked him to 3 unsolved murders in Los Angeles from the 1980s. He was convicted in 2014. At that point, authorities believed they had closed 3 cold cases. They had no idea they were just beginning. In 2018, Texas Ranger James Holland began interviewing Samuel Little. At first, Little denied everything. But something shifted. He began talking. Not vaguely, not boastfully. Specifically, he described victims investigators had never publicly discussed. He recalled facial features, clothing colors, car interiors, highways. He even began sketching their faces from memory. And those sketches were accurate. One by one, cases across the country began matching his descriptions. California, Texas, Florida, Ohio, Mississippi, dozens more. The FBI eventually confirmed at least 60 cases, making him the most prolific confirmed serial killer in U.S. history. There was no dramatic mastermind plan, no advanced technology, just systemic neglect. Many of his victims were not prioritized. Many deaths were not fully investigated. He exploited vulnerability not just of individuals, but of the system itself. And for decades, it worked. Samuel Little died in prison in December 2020. He was 80 years old. He was never released. He never faced trial for the full number of murders he confessed to. But the confessions gave families answers. Names were restored. Faces were remembered. Samuel Little's story is not just about a killer. It's about the people no one protected. It's about the consequences of ignoring the vulnerable. And it's about how silence can last decades until someone finally starts listening.